the Veronica bucket. Should she register it as a design or get a patent for it? How do I make money, like revenue, of the designs I'm making for the company?
The first computer that was built was able to occupy 2-story buildings. Now, even these days, I saw Dubai. They've come up with something that looks like an egg, or like the way we have Sankofa. But it's not an animal. It's not. It is a big object. People are even walking inside. A graphic designer, that falls under copyright. But once you design something and it's being sold, you can't come back and say anything. You have been paid. This is Bnoskka IP Zone, and it is an Uprise Music production. Today, I'm so happy we have a wonderful guest in the studio. Let me start from my left. Please see your name.
Okay, so I'm Margaret Doe, but I would prefer you calling me Max. I'm a recording artist, and soon I'll be trademarking my name, Max.
And that's interesting. And the lady on my right, please, your name.
I'm Irene Basson, also known as Winnie Pill. I am a gospel musician and a content creator.
All right. So today we want to talk about design. And in design, we just want to make sure that you understand what you are creating, because a lot of people are creating so many things. And one of such creations is what we call design. But in law, it is known as industrial design. So it's not just a personal, you sit down, you draw something and you think, no, I have a design and I need to write over it. No. It should be something you have designed and it should be industrial applicable. Like it should be able to help industry, make work easy for people. So that design, one, is an outward appearance, the way it looks like. For example, I'll give you a simple example, like Caterpillar. You see Caterpillar, the design of Caterpillar. Yes, so once you have created that kind of look, then you have the right over it. But if you just choose things which are already existing, you create this, you better create it and start make money out of it. But if you want to register it to have a monopoly, a single use up or a single production company that you have that right to do, then you have to make sure that you have registered. And if you want to register, what does the law says? So all over the world, we have what we call the Paris Convention, the Madrid Protocol. And even in Africa, we have the Harare Protocol, the expression of artistic works and all that. So you can register your industrial designs that you've done. And where does this apply to? Fashion designers can sit down and create new. The word here is new and novel, like it does not exist. You don't pick somebody's design and then you turn it, the I here, the T here and there, and you say that is my design. No, it doesn't apply like that. It should be something unique, like you've sat and thought about it. An outside appearance, maybe a device that you think is going to help industry, and that device is going to make sure that our lives is better. And so you are going to produce this in a mass quantity. And that mass quantity you are going to produce, the outward appearance of that particular product is the industrial design that you need to have. So that is what we want to look at here. So first of all, I want to read a little portion of the Industrial Design Act of Act 660. In Ghana, it was 2003 that the Parliament passed it. And it says that an industrial design is registrable if it is new. That's the first condition. So it is not something that you are sitting in town or you are there, you are dreaming about something. Oh, I think if I draw this and then it looks like something. No, it shouldn't look like anything. And two, an industrial design is new or original if it is significantly different or differ from all other products. You see? So it shouldn't be something that you have thought about it and you think that once it differs, but it's not original. No. So the word here is original. It should be novel. It should be unique on its own and it different exactly. So this is how industrial design. Now let's look into more details what the law actually says industrial designs looks like. So when you go to India, they have their India Copyright, the Industrial Design Act. It is called Indian Act 2000. You go to Nigeria, they have their Industrial Design Decree. You go to America, they have that. Even World Intellectual Property Organization have what we call Registered Designs Ordinance 2000. So all these are acts which different countries have passed to make sure that people who are doing industrial activities have a right of monopoly over whatever they are creating. Now, a design can sometimes even come in the form of a car or a product like microphone or a cutlass or a knife. I'll give you one example. A company started creating this, what people call bread knife. Yeah, bread knife. Another company also came and decided to add bread knife with a normal knife. So you have the bread knife here and the normal knife here, okay? And they wanted a monopoly over it. It went to court. They started the registration and it didn't happen. And they decided to forget about it and then decide to even prevent people from using. And then somebody took them to court and look, this bread knife idea was there a long time ago and this normal knife is here. You only added left one side cut bread, one side cut straight, zigzag cutting, you know, that zigzag knife looking. And it never happened. They were not able to get that monopoly because it was not new. So this is what we mean by it should be new and it should differ from whatever that exists. And so therefore, design rights, if, like I said, if you want a right over it, first, you need to sit down and make a sketch of whatever you think is industrial applicable. Okay, so make a sketch. If it's, let's say, a clothesline fashion designer, sit down and make all your designs that this design should look like this. You draw it, you make about it, and you put a name onto it so that when you go, you want to register, you cannot register a design which has no name. Okay, but it's not a trademark. It's just that the design should have a name. What name is it? So that name you put on it will be the application system. So you have that to yourself. And then also, it can also look like a car, the outline appearance, even the interior decoration of a car can come with the design. For example, some companies began to create what we call an ambience looking car. And it is fantastic. They had the monopoly to be able to use it. These days, you go on the internet, you look at buildings all over the world. For example, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. You cannot go and build a house that looks like that. No, they have created that design. Go and build your own. Okay? The Eiffel Towers in Paris, the same thing. You go to London Eye, the same thing. You cannot create something like that in your country. Okay? And even goes on to say that you cannot make miniature object that looks like that and then be selling. Why? Because they have come out with their design and they have the economic right to be able to eat from it. So you can also set up a company and be making toys of Dubai, Burj Khalifa and be selling. You will find yourself in trouble with the law. If they don't mind you, maybe that's your lucky, but I don't see it as luck. It's a postponement of trouble here to come in the future, right? So let us try and stay away from people's creativity. Make sure that whatever you are doing, you have a right over it. You create something that is for you. Don't go. Now, even these days, I saw Dubai. They've come up with something that looks like an egg, or like the way we have Sankofa. But it's not an animal. It's not. It's a big object. People are even walking inside. They even made an aquarium. That the design of it is one of it in the world. You are walking, you see fish, and the down you are seeing fish. And your left, right, you are seeing fish. Meanwhile, you are walking through a tunnel. That kind of design exists, and it's for them. Okay, so these are things that you create. And I'll give another example. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia has come up with a name called Neom. Neom. This Neom is Neom. And the word Neo is in Latin, is in Greek. They say Greek means new. And then M means what is an Arabic word that means future. So new future, Neom. And they are creating a whole new city. And they are thinking that the year 2030, that Neom city is coming up. And they are spending about $500 billion to come up. And the design of it is unique. It doesn't exist anywhere. So, for example, when they come out with that kind of a new city design, and then you also say, okay, let me also create a Neom, Neom Annex in Ghana, and you want to make sure that the landscape and everything looks like that, you will be in big trouble. Okay, so it should be unique. Sit down, create something. You see, like this Neom, I'm telling you, the guy created the name, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, a very fantastic guy. And when he was being asked, how does this will look like? Because you have created it, but it's not there now. Yeah. He pulled up 2 mobile phones. One was the normal, non-Android, not nothing. And then he came up with another smartphone. He says, so what you don't know is this yam. What is coming new is this. And it's like a clear distinction of a design which does not exist. So that is what we mean by the design which should be industrial applicable. And this, it is going to involve people who are going to be infrastructure building, who are going to design roads. In fact, even his roads that is coming up are fantastic. I'm going to give you another example. For example, this magnetic levitation trains that the Germans are building. It's a design. It has a lot of technology. So the technology aspect will be the patent. But the outside look of it is the design. And once they finish and they launch those products, you cannot also build any levitation train that looks like them. Okay? If you want to do, what do you do? First, the law says that you go and ask for a license from them. So they'll give you the license that, okay, you to produce this particular product or this service in our name. And then they make sure that you fit the standard in which they are designing. And it's like these days, Toyota companies are assembling cars here in Ghana. VW companies are assembling here in Ghana, and so many other companies. Why? They are using the same design from the original owner, and the original owner is here with them. So, for example, if it's like somebody who is sitting somewhere and decide to assemble a car in their name, it would have been a big issue because your design will surely be an infringement. And so this is what I would end here with this little introduction so that I can get more audience interactions and we go. Ask me big questions. And let's see how we can go about it. Who will start first?
Winnie was
okay. So Meg say Winnie. Winnie, let's hear your question.
So you mentioned patents being technology, like registering of technology. I'm asking this question using an example in Ghana, the Veronica bucket. What she did, will you call it a design, or she could get, should she register it as a design or as get a patent for it? Because in terms of use, in terms of technology, I don't see the technological aspect, but I remember it being a debate that she has the patent for that. So I want you to clarify between patent and
design. Okay. All right. So the patent is the mechanical ability of an object. For example, if you see this microphone I'm using, I can talk. Everybody can hear me. But then there's a mechanism within this microphone that is able to amplify my voice and be able to capture and transmit it onto a camera so that those who are watching us on this Bnoskka IP zone can hear us.
Yeah.
So that mechanical ability, the circuits, the wiring of cable, conductors, diodes, transistors, and blah, 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 fixed together, that design, whoever that made that thing is the patent. But the outside appearance of the microphone that has created, come up with that, is where the design aspect comes in. So, for example, the Veronica bucket, the lady did not create a bucket. And she did not create a tap. So pick a bucket and put a tap on it and call it Veronica bucket. It's not a design. You have no patent. You don't have design. You see, like the law says that it should be something new. It's not sampling of original ideas and bringing them together and you claim ownership. No. But the name she put on it, Veronica Bucket, can be trade name, can be trademark, yes. You can trade that name and pick somebody's bucket, pick somebody's tap, join it, and say, I'm selling Veronica Bucket. And once you create that Veronica Bucket and you are buying, people are buying, they will have that confidence in you, oh, your own is better. So if I also come out and say Bnoskka Bucket, and it looks like Veronica Bucket, there will be no legal action. But just that I cannot also create a bucket and call it Veronica Bucket because of trademark. But the design here is nobody can claim design ownership because it is not new. One, you did not even create the tap. And it also comes out with the pipe taps that we have in our houses. These days, people don't want to use the same tap again because somebody's design, like the one that has the cork you screw and you open. Yeah, there's ones that you tap and the water is coming up. They are all designs. The outside appearance, somebody has created. So you can also go and then get a machine and then be producing that design. No, you'll be in trouble. There are even new designs that is like what we call a motion sensor. When you push your hand under it, it senses your image and then it disperses the water. As soon as you move your hand, it takes like 5 to 3 seconds. Then the water stops. Good. So that is what we're talking about, design, the outside appearance. As for the technology of how he was able to fix whether infrared or whatever mechanism he put in, that is the patent. So that is the clear distinction. Okay. More questions?
All right. So for the design, let's say I'm a designer. I design clothing, but I'm with a brand. How do I make money, like revenue, off the designs I'm making for the company?
Oh, that's fantastic. So you are making designs for a company. Yes. Before you work in the company will give you a contract. So the contract will automatically identify you as an employed author.
Okay.
Yeah, so that issue will fall into copyright.
Oh, okay.
But the company as itself will now claim the design ownership. For example, Gucci,
yes,
Dior, I want to... Versace, some companies, okay, their designs they are making, you can also look at it and make same, right? Very simple. Yes. But the moment you do, you are in trouble, right? Yes. You'll be in trouble because they sat down and even look at your spectacles with the pearl. Very lovely. It looks like a tiger skin or whatever. But that particular design, this one, I can't see any name. Maybe it's okay. So the low key, yeah? Once a name comes on it, they will begin to trace who owns the design right, the outward appearance. And even the earrings you are looking, I can see some diamonds and red diamonds and white diamonds and some square up, some circle down. That kind of design. Yeah. And look at your design too. They call it copper or what?
Copper, yeah.
Copper or copper? Copper, okay, all right. So this kind of 2 unique earrings the two of you are wearing has a design in it. Yeah. And which is an outward appearance that somebody has sat and created. Look at your necklace. It looks like a chain, something like that. We don't have a chain. She has a chain. So that design is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it should be industrial applicable. For example, your hairstyle you have made, it's a design, but it does not fit. Why? Because anybody can sit and do this. Yeah. Unless you come and create a new hairstyle that never existed. And you say that, okay, I want a monopoly over this kind of design. Okay? Then you'll be thinking of how it can be industrial applicable. If it is not industrial applicable, you cannot get registration ownership for it. So designs are also registered. And in Ghana, like I said, in those Registrar General's Department, that's where you can go and get your designs registered. Yeah. So there's a bit of copyrights in there. When it's about artistic expression, that one falls under copyright. But if it's an industrial application, then it is an industrial design. Yep. And even with designs, there is also another aspect, what we call integrated circuit application. No, integrated circuit topography. Okay. Here means that, for example, your mobile phones, how the cables have been made simple. I'll give you an example. Somewhere when they started to build computers, the first computer that was built was able to occupy 2-story buildings. Yes, it was occupying 2-story buildings. Why? Because the cables were too big. Too big. And then somebody sat there and said, no. In fact, the critic who reviewed the computer said the whole world has room for 7 computers. Because how can you build 2-story building for 1 computer? So the whole world has room for 7. But then somebody created what we call integrated circuit topography. So we even have a law on it. Now people call it integrated circuits. You see, the designs, the cables, they try to make it so simple. These days, they are not even using copper cables. They are using lithium, which is able to transmit current very fast and make the design so small and slim. Remember the big phones we used to have?
Yeah.
So big. When it breaks, you can see the cables. But these days, when you open mobile phones, you don't see cables. All you see are circuit boards. So that integrated circuit also falls under law. You can't disassemble somebody's phone and do what we call reverse engineering and be creative. When you do, you are in trouble. Okay? So this is how design. It should be industrial applicable. If not, then forget it. Yeah. And it also goes with money if you want to register.
So are the design laws different from country to country?
Yes. So all over the world, we have what we call the Madrid Protocol. That is World Intellectual Property Organization. So, for example, if you want to register and to be protected with all the United Nations membership under the World Intellectual Property Organization, then you go international. Okay. If you think you can't afford international, you can do regional. Let's say ARIPO. In ARIPO, we have what we call the Hague Convention. The Hague Convention has also been rectified in ARIPO, African Regional Intellectual Property Organization. You can register, or you can even do Ghana and do national. National here means you select specific countries where you think your design will be infringed. Yeah. So you can select Ghana, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Togo, because that's how much you can afford. Yeah. But the more you want to extend, the more you pay. So patents and a design is huge. As for trademark, it's 1. You register 1, that's it. It's all over the world. It's for you.
Okay. So can you allow your design to be used, right, and make money off it?
Yes, that is the license aspect.
Yeah.
So you go into an agreement and then you say, okay, Michael Banfo, I can see you are doing uprise music production, blah, blah, blah. And then I want to give you a license to also produce this. Okay. So then there will be a day, press will come in, you sign a contract, a memorandum of understanding between you and them, and then that deal is done. So you start producing. Okay. And the day they decide, okay, you are not moving according to standard, because every infringement case that will come, it will go to the mother company, the one who owns the right, and not to you that have the licenses. Okay. Yeah. Megs, you've not thought of creating anything. And then I ask you, create this thing for me. I'm telling you, do this, do that, do that. If I did not tell you, how would you have created it in law? So once you have contracted the person, designed it for me, when he finishes, he has no business. You paid, you are done, and you go. You cannot come back and say that, oh, now I realize that you worth $10 million, so I charge you too little. Forget it. You cannot win that case anywhere. That is unfortunate. So if you contract somebody to make a design for you, that it falls under copyright. It is not in industrial design. Yes. It falls under copyright. But it means that you have employed a person. We'll have what we call employed author and unemployed author. Unemployed author is nobody is paying you. You sit down and you want to create things. But once you work within a company, let's take, for example, Uprise Music, the guy who is shooting this video, okay? So tomorrow he says, oh, I took part in this production. So if there's anything out of it, I also want to take charge. No, you were paid to do this job. You finish, you are finished. Okay. Unless you go on a different contract and say that, okay, I want to come with my own equipment. I want to come with my own team to come and record. Give me the space, give me the resources. When we finish, let's split 20, 80, or 50, 50, or 60, 40. Those are contract agreements. Okay. And even the one who has the upper hand owns the right, but you can equally share the benefit that comes out of it. Okay. So once you pay a person and the deal is done, you cannot change your mind. And for example, a graphic designer, that falls under copyright. But once you design something and it's being sold, let's say you design a Uprise Music logo and it's not being used for water. Meanwhile, you design it for music and it's not being, you can't come back and say anything. Your work is done. You have been paid. Whatever we use that for, it's none of your business. And if there's even any court case comes out of it, the designer is not to be blamed. The one who contracted the designer to do the designing is the one who is supposed to take the... Yeah. The thing is, one, contract is contract. You agreed on a specific terms. I'm coming to record a song, and you give me a cappella, you give me a stems, you give me the whole work, you give me even instrumentation. Yes. So these 4 things, if you charge 1,000 or 500 or even 100, once you finish, you are bound to execute these 4 things. Okay. If you don't, then you are, you are breaching their contract. Okay? So that is how it goes. And in this case, even there's a witness, the lady or whoever that went to do that, the artist will say that, yes, indeed, I made a call and you were here. We made this agreement. So these are unfortunate issues that people need to understand, producers especially. I've got a lot of cases in my office with such issues, but they're all under copyright, but not under design. Okay, please do.
Oh, let's say I'm a designer, fashion designer.
Yeah.
But I'm not even a fashion designer, but I want a specific cloth made, tailored for you. And I make sketches of it, and I give it to maybe the designer that sew this particular style for me, and it's not already in the market.
Yeah.
And she makes it. I mean, she puts it together. She sews it. And who owns the
right.
intellectual?
Okay, so the intellectual property one is coming from the one who is actually making the sketches. Okay. And the law also says that significant contribution. If you had not made that sketches, would the dress have come out to look like that? No. So you have contributed. And let me also say that anytime you want to engage in some of these things, get a lawyer involved because it's your creativity. For all you know, you finish and everybody is taking pictures. The next moment, they are designing the same thing because they've now know your mind and they are now will go ahead. So if you have a lawyer involved, and such designs too, unfortunately, in some part of the world, it comes at a big cost. You call it an exclusive design. Exactly. Like an example I gave about the Queen, her clothes and her hats when she was alive. Those things were exclusively made for her. You can't be seen to be wearing such things. So it is up to you to decide to protect that or not. Any more questions? Our time is cool. Quickly.
Let's take it to music.
Yeah.
Let's say the recording artist, I come with my music, and then the producer also creates the beats.
I get your idea.
Yes.
I get your idea. It's not under design.
So if you are going to ask, let's say, who really owns the intellectual property? Yeah. If I say I want the instrumentation and he refuses to give me because that is his intellectual property, like how?
No, it is not his intellectual property. Unfortunately, our time is far gone, but I'll answer it in a jiffy. Once you have asked him to do this work, demand what your money is supposed to give you that service. And that should be it. Okay. And that is how time will allow us. This is Bnoskka IP Zone, a Uprise Music production. I want to thank my guest and you. Please subscribe and make sure that you follow us and you also share the information to other people. This is Bnoskka, I'm telling you.